Good evening, citizens of Portsmouth and my council colleagues. In accordance with Governor Ralph Northam's declaration of a state of emergency due to the novel coronavirus, Executive Order 51 on March 12, 2020, and the local declaration of emergency ratified by the Portsmouth City Council, and due to the coronavirus pandemic, which is continuing in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This called meeting of the Portsmouth City Council is being held by video conference on the 11th day of May 2021 without a quorum present in the City Council chamber in order to reduce the likely spread of the coronavirus in accordance with City Council Ordinance 2020-21 and 2020-102. Each city council member is participating from their home or other remote location, and I am in the city council chamber. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mr. Battle,
Here.
Mrs. Lucas Burke,
Here.
Mr. Moody,
Here.
Dr. Whitaker,
Present.
Mr. Woodard,
Here.
Mayor Glover.
Here. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the minutes? Members of council, we have for our consideration the minutes of a virtual called meeting on April 27th, 2021, a virtual regular meeting on April 27th, 2021. Is there any discussion of the minutes? If not, we're in need of a motion and second.
Motion to approve.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes,
Before
sir.
we get started into the meeting, I would like to share some good news about our Great American Cleanup, which was held on April 17th. And I'll just share the following message that was sent from Mr. Amos Taylor, who is our waste management supervisor. And I will say that we have the best waste management team in the whole of Hampton Roads. And it is as follows. Good afternoon, Mayor. Just wanted to update you that we had 588 cars to come out for our household hazardous waste event at IC Norcom High School on April 10th. And we had over 200 citizens to participate in our Great American Cleanup on April the 17th. And many of my colleagues were cleaning up that day. And thank you guys for your participating. We were all working here in the city of Portsmouth to pick up litter throughout various communities in our city. Special thanks to the whole team, Chief Nestor, Chief of Police, Chief Burke, along with their teams, and also the city staff and all the individuals who participated, Delegate Steve Heretic, and the Landscape Division for teaming up with Waste Management to make our clean up a huge success. We collected over 350 bags of litter and 227 tires. So let's give the team a hand for all their hard work, and thank you for keeping Portsmouth clean. Madam Clerk, would you please read our speaker statement?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, City Council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. All remarks shall be directed to the City Council as a body rather than any particular member of City Council, staff, or the audience. and should be limited to matters that only the Portsmouth City Council influence. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude his or her comments.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're muted, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We've come to the public hearing, a part of our agenda. There are a number of items for consideration. Our first item is item A, which is UP item 21-04. And Madam Clerk, would you read the caption, please, for the public hearing item?
Yes, sir. Prentice Park, Robert C. Barclay IV, Esquire, on behalf of Safe Harbor Behavioral Health, LLC, requests a use permit for a residential drug and alcohol treatment facility at 1819 Elm Avenue. The property is zoned neighborhood mixed use. The Build One Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan recommends mixed residential development. Planning Commission recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe
This is Tim Webb with Safe Harbor Behavioral Health. I'm here.
Welcome, Mr. Webb. You have 10 minutes, sir, to present your item.
Yes, sir. So thank you. Council, thank you. I have met with some of you folks previously to talk about what we're doing at our current site at London Boulevard, as well as what we'd like on Elm Avenue. I have with me over my shoulder to the left is Mark Luck. Mark is my admissions director. To the right is Jason Charity. Jason is my program manager for the Elm Avenue site and will manage a lot of the day-to-day operations. You know, we currently operate 30 beds of residential treatment for adults with addiction on London Boulevard. We do residential treatment. We don't provide detox services. So all of our patients have had detox if they need it prior to coming to us. We operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year with awake staff. We have a physician who sees all of our patients at admission and then weekly. All of our patients see a counselor for group therapy daily. We have 12-step meetings daily. People are programmed for an entire 8 hours of the day. We cook all of our meals on site. The Elm Avenue site is specifically designed to be a program for our veterans who are struggling with addiction. During the pandemic, we saw the Hampton domiciliaries at the VA close down during COVID, and we had a number of vets who needed treatment. We are in network with the VA's community care network and are able to provide that care to those most deserving of our citizens, and would like to be able to do that separately from our London site. By opening up 20 beds on Elm, we'll be able to provide a program specifically designed for those folks and then open up more beds at London for community people. As many of you know, here in Portsmouth, we have suffered with really the bigger pandemic of addiction much longer than we have the pandemic of COVID. It's hit especially hard in our community. And by being able to open these 20 beds on Elm, we can bring more of our Medicaid patients in to the London Boulevard site. In discussing security of the site, the doors are all locked so that people can't get in from the outside. We have alarms on the doors so that if you were to try and open the door and go out, it's going to set off an alarm. Jason and the staff will know that. The property will be under 24-hour-a-day video surveillance as well. Jason will have 2 direct care staff on duty at all times. We'll have a nurse on duty 7 days a week as well to ensure everyone is safe. We will use the kitchen that's currently there. It's a commercial kitchen, so we'll cook all meals on site. We plan to do a number of therapeutic interventions, including yoga. We'll be doing neurofeedback, biofeedback, but a lot of things veteran specific, a lot of trauma work that we'll do with these folks. Dr. Jones or another physician that we may contract with, see them both at admission and weekly. We've done a lot of groundwork meeting with the community. Each of you have should have letters of support from the Brighton Prentice Park Civic League. We've met with them twice. Bishop Barry Randall has sent a letter of support for us. Arlene Farrow has sent a letter of support. She's a small business owner here in Portsmouth and done some work for us on site. Lucy Newman has done a lot of work with us. Lucy sent a letter of support. She runs the behavioral health unit over at Maryview Hospital. We have the support of the local behavioral health community, the hospital community, business owners, as well as the Civic League. The site is zoned mixed use. Previously, it was used as an assisted living facility. So the use that we're proposing is very similar in nature to that. It's got a laundry room that we will use for laundry as well as for exercise. We plan to put some exercise equipment in for those folks. But again, with what we're planning to do, it will open up additional beds at London for Portsmouth folks, in addition to being able to treat our veterans there for 45 days or longer if need be. We believe in hiring local talent. I've got a number of Portsmouth natives on staff here and am certainly looking to continue to hire direct care staff, nurses, techs, those kinds of positions locally. So we'd like to bring some jobs in as well.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Are you finished with your comments, or would you like to continue to add something else, sir?
I am open to any questions at this point. Yeah, as I said, we're doing a program. It'd be a 45-day program with intensive group therapy, weekly individual therapy, family therapy, psychoeducational groups, the physician seeing everybody. People will be well supervised. They're not allowed to leave the property, so they don't go out on passes. They won't be out walking around the community. They will always be with staff the entire time.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Mr. Baldwin, do you have any thing about this item? Do you have anything to add to this item?
No, sir, I do not.
Thank you, sir. And so, Madam Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
No, sir.
No registered speakers for this item. Then this public hearing is now closed. Members of council, is there any discussion about this item? Councilman Battle, sir, you have the floor.
Yes, I noticed that your staffing pattern was that you would have 2 people there at all times. This is probably good at the onset, but once you get your 20 clients in, you're gonna need more than 2 folk there. I think you're gonna need at least 3 to 4 folk there to operate the facility and have a greater control on what you're doing. By just having 2 staff and you've reached 20 clients, you leave yourself kind of open for liability in the community. And, you know, I think that the staffing pattern is kind of inadequate for what you're going to be doing. So I personally would recommend that you have at least 3 persons. Now, the night shift, 2 will be fine. But when the consumers are up and you're providing those services, you're going to need at least 3 staff persons, if not more, during the hours of operation and providing the actual service. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Battle. Councilmember Woodard, sir, you have the floor.
Yeah, I can. Thank you, man. First of all, I concur with Councilmember Paul Battle. I was gonna ask the same thing about the staffing situation. You said it was two nurses or techs on staff at all time for 20 beds, and I was gonna compare that with your other location. I was gonna ask you how many people are on staff at the London Boulevard location.
Yes, sir. May I respond?
Please,
Sure.
Mr. Webb, you have the
Yes, sir.
floor, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, Councilman Battle and Councilman Woodard, during the day shift, there'll be two behavioral health techs. There'll be the manager and a behavioral health tech, as well as a nurse and a counselor. So there'll be at least 4 in the building on the day shift. On the second shift, there'll be 2 behavioral health techs, there'll be a nurse, and there will probably be a counselor as well for part of that shift. The only time I would ever consider having it with only 2 is overnight or asleep. At our current site, as the domiciliary has opened back up over in Hampton, we've seen somewhat of a decrease in our census with veterans here. Currently, I've got 7. I am running about 7 to 10. If I'm running 20, I'm going to staff up for sure, because the most important thing that I can do for anybody is keep folks safe. At our current site, we're going to run 2 overnight. On the second shift, we'll have 3 plus a nurse. On our day shift, we'll have 2 techs plus a nurse, plus counselors, plus all the administrative staff. So I don't want anybody to think that we would only run 2 people in the building first or second shift. There's certainly going to be a lot more people there than that regularly.
And one more question.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Woodard. Yes, sir. You have the floor,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Tim, it's you said that they have a 45-day. Is it a 45-day interval for everyone that's admitted to this facility?
So the way that works is the VA's community care network that we're a member of will authorize 45 days. If the veteran needs 28 or 30 days, then we're going to do 28 or 30. If he or she needs the full 45, we'll do that. And if we get to day 44, Councilman Woodard, and it looks like, or day 40, and it looks like this person needs more than what we have authorized, we're going to go back to the Veterans Administration and request more days. So we're going to do everything based on medical necessity.
Right. So, and I just want to, go a little bit in depth about their stay there. I know you were saying that they can't leave the facility. Is it any passes granted? You said they can't leave without a counselor, right?
So we don't have them leave for passes and that type of thing. If they had an appointment at the Veterans Administration, we would take them over to the VA and then bring them back. But we don't send them off on passes with families when they're at that level of care. Going off into the community without staff would be something that would need to happen at a lower level of care that we don't provide. So
okay.
Everyone gets drug tested when they come in, and then we do periodic testing throughout your stay. And if we find that somebody comes in and they've been detoxed and they're showing negative for everything, and they show positive for something while you're in treatment, we will probably send it off for a confirmatory drug test to make sure it's accurate. But then if it's accurate, we have to talk about whether you really belong in that program or not. Because we cannot have people using in treatments. So we'll do random drug screens as well as drug screens if we think that there's an issue.
Right. That was one of my concerns, was testing involved with these trips that the patients may be implemented back on arrival. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Anytime, if we send you out to the emergency room, if we take you out anywhere, we're going to drug test you when we come back, just to make sure nothing slipped through the cracks.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. It looks like Councilmember Battle, sir, you have the floor.
Are you initiating community integration?
When we talk about community integration, Councilman Battle, when our veterans get admitted, we will begin working on discharge planning from the beginning, looking at where they're going to go. Are they going to go to what's called a sober living house? Are they going to go to family? And then we try to coordinate back with the VA. Our veterans don't have any other healthcare benefits other than their VA benefit. We have to try and coordinate their outpatient care through the VA. Some of them, if they're able to stay locally, then we may be able to integrate them into our outpatient program that we're on Queen Street. The Queen Street program should be open by mid to late summer. It should be open before this program. That program will include a partial hospital program where it's 5 hours a day of outpatient, and will at some point include an intensive outpatient program where it's up to 3 hours per day.
By community integration, I mean inserting things that they can do into the community to kind of replace those bad habits they had, such as a movie, a little league game, things of that order that we do. That's
Right.
what I'm saying about community integration. But I see you'll be working on basically discharge planning. All right, sir, thank you.
We will work on discharge planning, as I said, from the beginning. I think one of the things we have to be very careful of is when we get someone there in those first couple of weeks, try to keep them there in-house. We can certainly look down the road at doing some group outings. And then if we do group outings, when we come back from that group outing, obviously we're going to drug test folks. And if we do group outings, it would generally be a small group. I'd staff up to do that type of thing. So we can certainly do some of that. We've not been doing that at London Boulevard because the 30 beds has just been too much. But with our veterans, we have a little more resources available to us. And so I could certainly look at some of those kinds of activities.
Thank Councilwoman Lucas Burke, did you have a question, ma'am?
No, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to say early in the discussion that I would have to recuse myself from this due to a property conflict and ownership with this property.
Thank you, ma'am. Colleagues, are there any other questions? We are in need. Okay. Sir, you have the floor.
I just want to thank Safe Harbor for providing these services to citizens all around, I guess, the area and whatnot. It's a lot of people who need this help, and it's something that I think this council is appreciative of this businesses like this helping out veterans and people that's having substance abuse. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we are now in need of a motion and a second.
Motion to approve. Motion to
Second.
approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir, Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke.
Abstain.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb, for your participation in this public hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, council. We greatly appreciate it.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank you. You as well.
Our next item is item B, use permit 21-05. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the public hearing item?
Yes, sir. George Washington Highway Commercial Corridor, Wayne Cummins requests a use permit for a light manufacturing business consisting of a metal fabrication shop and warehouse at 3409 George Washington Highway. The property is zoned general mixed use. The Build One Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan recommends commercial development. Planning Commission recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir. Wayne Cummins here, representing Jrf Ship Repairs.
Mr. Cummings, thank you for joining us this evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
You have 10 minutes, sir, to present the item.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Jrf Ship Repairs is a small business, woman-owned, minority-owned fabrication company. We currently employ approximately 130 employees, and we are currently established already in the Portsmouth area. We're located over on Mount Vernon Avenue. We are hoping to establish a new facility, consolidate our assets into one area. And this facility would give us that by granting the use permit. We specialize in light fabrication of metal and aluminum fabricated structures for Navy vessels and commercial-sized vessels. All of our materials and fabrication are conducted inside the facility. We would also establish a administrative portion of the building itself, and we would have all deliveries in the back of the facility, so everything would be tucked around behind the building. Excuse me. So this would also allow us to grow our business, and we would come in, we would improve the facility, whole new exterior siding, updated signs and lighting, improve parking in the area, back and front. And we've already established the conditions that were put forth by the Planning Commission, and we worked those into our plans and our permit requests for structure. The facility would maintain the second building on the facility as is for retail establishments and restaurants. However, the fabrication facility would be inside the larger structure. I believe that kind of explains everything in a nutshell. Please, if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. Cummings, for your presentation. And I would ask at this time, Mr. Baldwin, do we have anything to add to this item?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor. I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any.
Very good. Madam Clerk, do we have any registered speakers?
No, sir.
Hearing none, then this public hearing is now closed. Members of council, is there any discussion about this particular item? Councilmember Battle, sir, you have the floor.
Yes, are there any restrictions in place on this item? And are there any atmospheric problems that exist with it?
Mr. Baldwin?
Yes, sir. So, as is shown in the staff report, there are a number of conditions that are placed on this application, and we would note for City Council that this is deemed light industrial under the city zoning ordinance. They would be restricted to operations inside the facility that meet that definition of light manufacturing. They could not go to a more heavy type of industrial use of the building.
And to add, if I may, sir, there is no atmospheric concerns necessarily to even address. What we do is we take pieces of metal and we just kind of cut them and grind them and then put them together, reassembly into a puzzle. So we're using minimal acetylene, gas torches, grinding wheels, and that's why everything's inside and filtered through the filtration system of the building.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or discussion? Seeing none.
Mayor, I did have one question. I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead, Councilwoman Lucas-Burke. I apologize. I didn't see you.
Yes, Mr. Cummings, thank you for the presentation. And I saw in the proposed conditions that it would be no heavy manufacturing. Was that cutting of the puzzles and making smaller pieces? Was that considered part of this small manufacturing? Or what was the concern about, I guess, the heavy manufacturing?
Yes, ma'am. It's considered light fabrication and light manufacture because majority of our work is actually done within the Navy yards. Here, what we do is we take we'll take small pieces of metal, sheets of metal. It's light grinding, and we'll make as minimal cuts as we can, and we design and that prevents waste. So it's kind of just a business platform. So we don't do heavy fabrication. It's not mass assembly. It's small pieces, one at a time, and it's just kind of lightly structured. And then we take it to the Navy Yard where the bulk of the structural work is held.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome, Councilman.
You're on mute, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We're in need of a motion and a second.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas-Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have now come to item C, Z-21-01. And Madam Clerk, would you read the public hearing item?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, before we go into this, I would like to ask that we defer this vote until the next meeting. After speaking with a couple of the council members, I know Councilman Battle hadn't visited the location yet, and before we made a decision, he mentioned to me earlier that he actually wanted to see it.
Okay, first, before we consider that, let's go through the process. We haven't met that point yet. So we're going to go through with the presentation. And then once we get to the part in which we call for the motion, then we'll address it at that point.
Well, I know because we have a lot of people that wanted to discuss it. So I was hoping that we can hear that discussion when we actually vote, and if we can get a second and approval for it in our next meeting.
Sir, we have the item on the agenda. We're going to proceed with the agenda. And when we get to that point in which we ask the question for a motion, that is the time we can address that. Madam Clerk, would you read the caption?
Yes, sir. Victory Village, Stephen R. Romine, on behalf of the Economic Development Authority, is requesting to rezone approximately 56.916 acres at 3560 Victory Boulevard, 0 Campus Drive, 0 Victory Boulevard, 0 Village Way, 111 Campus Drive, 0 Freedom Avenue, 271 Freedom Avenue, 175 Freedom Avenue, and 3606 Victory Boulevard to an entertainment overlay district within the high intensity max mixed use zoning district. The future land use map of the Bill 1 Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan designates this property for mixed use employment. The property is owned by the Economic Development Authority. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Is the applicant present?
Yes, I am, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. You have 10 minutes, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Glover and members of the City Council. For the record, I am Steve Romine, a local attorney with an address at 999 Waterside Drive, Norfolk. I represent Portsmouth Gaming Holdings, an affiliate of Rush Street, and I'm also here this afternoon on behalf of the Economic Development Authority. I also have with me today Mike Tobin, Randy Royal, and other team members who may be able to address questions as well. I only have 10 minutes, so I'll be brief. First, we believe the Rivers Casino of Portsmouth provides something for everyone. First of all, gaming. State-of-the-art gaming floor will provide a full complement of slots, table games, and poker room, which includes a separate high-limit area. There will also be a luxury wagering lounge featuring a 12-foot tall high-resolution video wall, complete with club chairs and private booths for sporting events. There'll be indoor and outdoor event center as well. The indoor event center can be used for everything from weddings to formal banquets to corporate events to live concerts and entertainment, while the outdoor event space offers a lakefront entertainment area. Fourthly, there'll be distinctive and diverse dining options, including a VIP lounge, steakhouse, gastropub, pizza cafe, coffee shops, and a dance club with live entertainment. And there will also then be a master plan to include a full-service hotel connected to the casino. So there'll be something for everyone. Secondly, we believe it's going to be a great place to work. Rivers Casino Portsmouth will create more than 1,400 construction-related jobs and 1,300 permanent jobs, including careers as table game dealers, accountants, IT personnel, food services, marketing executives, bartenders, slot machine technicians, and so much more. We offer excellent compensation packages, job training, and advancement opportunities to our team members. We hire local people for good paying jobs, and we give them training and the tools to advance their careers in our company. We're very proud of our efforts to work collaboratively with all our team members. All Rush Street gaming properties have been voted a best place to work or a top workplace. Rivers Casino provides a nurturing, diverse, and inclusive environment and is committed to the equal opportunity employment and participation of all team members in all employment classifications throughout the organization. This commitment to equal opportunities and diversity also applies to our vendors, suppliers, and independent contractors. Thirdly, the casino operation will be a strong economic engine. Rivers Casino Portsmouth will pay more than $16 million in annual taxes to the city of Portsmouth, comprised of taxes from the casino and property taxes, sales and use taxes, hotel and entertainment taxes. Through strategic partnerships, the $300 million plus project costs will directly benefit local and minority businesses and will generate more than $200 million annually in local Portsmouth and Hampton Roads economy. Fourthly, Rivers Casino is committed to being a good and responsible neighbor for the community, including local residents and nearby businesses. We believe in doing all we can to support and enhance the quality of life in our area and to contribute making Portsmouth a great place to work, visit, and play. And lastly, we believe the Rivers Casino Portsmouth will be a great place to play. With that, I believe Z2101 that's in front of us tonight, it is a request to rezone approximately 56.9 acres of property adjacent to the east of Victory Boulevard and south of I-264 as described in the staff report. This rezoning is essentially a master plan for the entertainment district in this region. As you may recall, Planning Commission and City Council approved a rezoning of this property to MUH and adopted the entertainment district zoning in contemplation of the establishment of this project. This application is consistent with a comprehensive plan and designates this area for mixed-use employment. The staff report also indicates that it meets the goal of expanding economic opportunity. This development is allowed within the MUH zone, and staff has determined that development is compatible with surrounding land uses. The entertainment district also complies with a 25-acre minimum district. The staff report contains a complete history, but I'll be brief. Last year in September, Council approved the establishment of the Entertainment Overlay District and to allow the casino gaming by use permit. On November 3rd, the referendum was passed by a 2/3 vote of the citizens of Portsmouth. On December 8th, we obtained approval from City Council on the 56.9 acres and rezoned that to MUH zone. And currently, Portsmouth Gaming Holdings is currently working with the state lottery in order to get a license. Coincidentally, the state lottery just posted last week its operator license application, and Rush Street is analyzing its requirements. The application is extensive and they'll provide significant background materials on the operator. Today, we're seeking approval to rezone the property to an entertainment overlay district in furtherance of the development agreement between the Economic Development Authority and the Portsmouth Gaming Holdings in order to construct a casino, a hotel, an entertainment venue to include on-site restaurants, retail shopping, parking, and casino gaming. The goal is to develop a successful world-class casino and event center, a true destination. The current master plan includes Parcel C, which is 38.7 acres. The future expansion area has been indicated as Parcels A and B, and the 11 acres east of Freedom that can be included in the district in the future. The details of the casino and the hotel will be discussed when we cover the use permits after this application. As part of this rezoning request, we did a VDOT 527 plan and was submitted to address road improvements and was approved by VDOT as part of the zoning case last year. Portsmouth Gaming Holdings and the Economic Development Authority have entered into an infrastructure agreement to ensure road improvements are made. This district will provide some flexibility, and you'll see in the packet that we've applied for two alternatives, an alternative sign plan and an alternative lighting plan. They're very detailed, and I will not go into them specifically. Also, we're requesting a phase-in plan. The phase-in plan covers the first phase, which would be the casino project, event center, parking, and restaurants. The second phase, as indicated on the slide in front of you, would be the full-service hotel. And we're going to get into more detail on those when we look at the use permit applications. We're going to relocate the BMP to the northwest corner of the property, and it'll be 4.7 acres, and we'll provide a venue, a waterfront venue for outside events. We provided various letters of support to the council. Hopefully you've read them and received them from the Philadelphia City Council, the Mayor of Schenectady, New York, Tidewater Community College, the Chamber of Commerce, various community leaders, and others. And my last point is just to clarify that the casino project will involve about 250,000 square feet in the casino footprint and a hotel of about 150,000 plus square feet for an overall project of approximately 400,000 square feet. I apologize for the speed of going through this, but I want to make sure I hit all the high points. And I would just ask Mayor tonight that you approve this case Z2101, and I'll stand by for questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Attorney Romine. Madam Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
Yes, sir. The first speaker is Mr. Gary Harris.
Overlay District in furtherance of the development agreement between the Economic Development Authority and the Portsmouth Gaming Holdings.
Mr. Harris. Okay, we can come back to him. Ms. Delcino Miles.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just before you speak, Ms. Miles, if everyone else who is not speaking could please turn your microphones off so we don't receive feedback. If you're not speaking, if you could please turn your camera off so we can focus on the person that is speaking. Please proceed, Ms. Miles. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to take my time. Good evening, members of council, Mayor Glover, Vice Mayor Barnes. I'd like to read two letters from your colleagues and peers from the City Council of Philadelphia. Greetings from Philadelphia City Council. I'm writing today to express support and encouragement for the Portsmouth City Council to approve the zoning changes necessary to allow the development of Rivers Casino Portsmouth to proceed. In addition to serving my district, I'm currently chairing the Philadelphia City Council's Labor and Civil Service Committee, working to ensure that all employees have financial security and equal opportunities, not just to survive, but to thrive. In our experience with Rivers Casino Philadelphia and Rush Street Gaming, the company has proven to be a diverse, equitable, and inclusive employer with a long track record in Philly and elsewhere of taking excellent care of the team members. Many of the employees at Rivers Casino Philadelphia today are day one employees and have been with the company more than 10 years now in advanced positions. Importantly, those career opportunities were created by a Philadelphia-based leadership team recruiting Philadelphia-first employees. In fact, many workers at the casino reside in nearby neighborhoods. Through its Rivers Gives staff volunteer programs, the casino regularly deploys team members into those same communities to support neighborhood improvement projects and local nonprofits. In 2020, during the height of the pandemic, when the casino industry was shut down nationwide for months, Rivers Casino Philadelphia continued to extend payroll and benefits to its team members, despite producing no revenue due to mandated closures. Upon reopening, the casino made the health and safety of team members, guests, and the community its number one priority. Perhaps not surprisingly, the team members who work there have recently voted Rivers Casino Philadelphia as a top workplace for the 9th year, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. For those reasons and more, I'm confident that introducing Rivers Casino Portsmouth to your community will have an immediate and sustainable positive impact on the city of Portsmouth. Many thanks for your consideration. Sincerely, and it's signed by Sherelle L. Parker, Councilwoman, 9th District Majority Leader, City Council of Philadelphia. And another letter from City Council member Mark Squilla. Dear Mayor and council members, my career in public service has spanned 2 decades, and for the past 10 years, I've been a Philadelphia City Council member in the district that hosts Rivers Casino. Casino Philadelphia. My mission is to enhance the quality of life for the residents and businesses within my district and citywide. In that spirit, I'm providing this letter to share my experience with Rivers Casino and Rush Street Gaming. My tenure on council runs almost concurrently with the opening of Rivers Casino Philly in 2010. I've seen firsthand the transformative and overwhelmingly positive impact that Rivers Casino has had on Philadelphia and its surrounding neighborhoods. Prior to the casino's development, its long vacant lot sat dormant, surrounded by blight and nearby residential properties with static or declining values. Following a substantial investment by Rush Street Gaming, a company that continuously goes above and beyond to support its host communities, Rivers Casino's Delaware Avenue location today anchors a vibrant entertainment corridor alive with progress. Rivers Casino Philadelphia has been and continues to be a catalyst for change, attracting more investment in businesses, restaurants, concert venues, companies, and more in the area. Residential property values around the casino have increased dramatically, and in fact, a new luxury apartment building is currently under construction right next door. This rapid economic evolution occurred while the casino itself generated substantial annual tax revenue for the city through its gaming operations, introduced approximately 1,200 family-sustaining jobs, and helped drive tourism in Philadelphia. Rivers Casino is one of the top destinations in Philadelphia, second only to the Liberty Bell, according to the Philadelphia Business Journal. Council members, I respectfully urge you to approve the necessary zoning changes so that Portsmouth, its residents, businesses, and visitors can enjoy the many opportunities for community growth and enhancement that hosting Rivers Casino Portsmouth will bring. Cordially, Mark Squilla, another one of your colleagues and peers on the City Council. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers?
Yes, sir. Mr. Harris is now on the line, sir.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, thanks so much. I appreciate you having me this evening. I'll be quick here. and such. Basically, as a resident of Cavalier Manor, which is directly across from the proposed site, we've come together with residents and other advocates, not only within the city but across the country as well, to perform what is called a cumulative impact study. I.e., we want to see what this proposed development will have in terms of impacts beyond economic on our particular community and such. There are already existing stresses in the community in terms of health impacts, in terms of economic impacts. But when you layer on that development, what does that cause in terms of cumulative impacts for the community? So we have a number of people doing all sorts of studies in terms of health, in terms of economics, in terms of crime, et cetera, et cetera. So tonight, I just want to talk about the health impacts of the casino. The city of Portsmouth proposed site of a casino development. Grassroots advocates and community members are concerned about the potential social and public health impacts that this development could have on the community as well as the city overall. So we're performing a cumulative impact study, i.e. advocates have come together from across the country to identify resulting economic, social, and environmental stressors that could occur from the development of the casino. The proposed site for the casino is located 1,500 feet away from the front door of a low-income community. The site's suitability is also challenged by the lack of adherence of design criteria set forth by the gaming industry itself. In other words, the site's suitability doesn't match what the industry is saying where a casino should be built. In addition, current rulemaking is underway by the state authorities, the same ones who's going to license the casino, to ensure that site suitability in relation to local government authority and environmental justice considerations are part of the application process. More than 30 organizations from across the country and other portions of cities and counties, et cetera, are supporting and contributing to this study. Example, I've just gotten off the phone with folks from the University of California at Berkeley. And they're doing an environmental justice mapping project that highlights Portsmouth among other cities to show existing environmental issues. Example, a team of another major university conducted an economic impact analysis, which shows externalities as a result of the casino operation on local small business operations. Example, a document created by the NAACP centering equity in the building sector highlighted the poor lack of meaningful, deliberate community engagement of the project. Example, no community-wide meeting has been held for the residents to directly ask questions to developers over an extremely long period of time, more than a year during the entire life cycle of the project. Example, the residents in Cavalier Manor could face housing justice issues arising from increased gentrification and housing-induced displacement. Now on to the health portions here. Research shows that while casinos might provide social and economic benefits to municipalities, there also may be significant adverse public health impacts, particularly for the surrounding community. Increasing the availability of gambling as well as proximity to casinos is associated with higher rates of problem gambling. Furthermore, gambling can worsen social economic inequities. While higher income households spend a larger amount, on average, lower income households lose a larger portion of their income gambling, i.e. it's a gambling burden. Neighborhood disadvantages which differ by 4 variables related to poverty, lower income, is also significantly associated with the increased odds of problem gambling. Rates of personal bankruptcy have shown to increase in communities with casinos. There's also been negative impacts to public health, especially among individuals with existing psychiatric or substance use disorders and adolescents. In a national study of more than 13,000 people, problem gambling was associated with increased odds of suicide and suicide attempts after adjusting for social economic variables. Rates of pathological gambling, which differs from problem gambling in that it is considered an impulse control disorder, a
Excuse me,
higher
sir.
population.
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Harris, sir, you have about 30 seconds, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. Studies should show that individuals who living within 2 miles of the casino have a higher probability of becoming problem gamblers. This casino is being built within 1,500 feet. Our community impact study goes on and on and on, again, looking at all sorts of variables. Bottom line is we think because of this community impact study and its fact-driven results, which we're going to share with the Department of Environmental Quality and other licensed authorities in the state, that the casino application should conduct a cumulative impact study of its own, an environmental justice analysis of its own, and had that to be part of the application determination process. Therefore, we are against the casino being built in its current location.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. Madam Clerk, can we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Michael Tobin. And council members, when I was indicating cut your cameras off, that was for the additional speakers that were registered, not for the council members. Thank you.
I'm Michael Tobin with Rush Street Gaming, and I'm here to answer questions. I have no advanced remarks.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is Solomon Fall. Okay. Mary, you're muted. Not seeing them come forward. The next speaker is Mr. Mark Godoldi-Gutrowski.
Good evening, Mayor, council
evening,
members,
sir.
council
You have
members, and other neighbors. So I feel very disadvantaged following Mr. Gary Harris, who can shoehorn more content into 30 seconds than I can get into a 10-minute speech. So I will try to hit fewer points than he and put my focus on those. First of all, Rivers is being done an injustice by the siting of the casino. There's no river in Victory Village. My recommendation is that we reserve that site with its proximity to Tidewater Community College for what the original purpose was, to be an innovation incubator, to springboard off the resource that Tidewater Community College provides us, and to develop businesses, especially small businesses, small startups, that can leverage what TCC is providing in terms of an educational background for people to work in the jobs of the future. Instead, I want to revert to the original concept. Oh, let me say, by way of disclaimer, that I have never been a casino proponent. Those of you who are newer to council may not know this, but you folks with a little history on the council have heard me time and again say no casino. But I'm also a democratizer, and the fact that an overwhelming majority of the citizens, when given the opportunity to state their preference by means of a referendum, voted for this project. So I'm going with that flow. However, the flow is bettered by the Elizabeth River. And we could create some synergy because council's long-term vision and the civic long-term vision has been to replace the civic infrastructure that currently sits at the edge of the river with private development.
And so the casino could get its river and could leverage other infrastructure that predates it, including the Union Bank Pavilion, one of the components of the entertainment zone, and one of the components of the casino development elsewhere by the Rivers Group is an outdoor entertainment platform. So it pre-exists. It's in proximity. We would not have to put a capital investment in new plumbing for this 50-year-old city hall that only the mayor is occupying today. We would not have to worry about upgrading the elevators because it would be coming down to make room for the casino. We have other infrastructure. We have the former Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. We have an abandoned furniture store that shares a footprint with the Children's Museum, into which we could do other development that would be compatible with the entertainment zone feature of the casino development. Downtown is a better location if we're going to do a casino to take advantage of pre-existing structures. And let me not pass over the Renaissance Hotel, which is currently undergoing renovation and can serve as lodging for those people who come to the casino for more than a day trip.
You have 30 seconds, sir.
That's the gist of it. You've received my comments in writing. The public has access to them through Portsmouth City Watch. Also, I have completed what I needed to say for the following two items, so I will not be exercising.
You're muted, sir. Thank you, sir.
I thank you, sir. I'm done.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, we have one additional speaker on this. I'm called the name Solomon Fall. It should be Solomon. I believe that's how it's pronounced, Fall.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it Salome?
Suleiman.
Suleiman.
Okay,
I
sorry about that.
apologize, sir.
It's okay.
My apologies, Suleiman. Mr. Suleiman, you have the floor, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Suleiman Fall, Director of Employment Service at Jrf Human Services. It's definitely a pleasure for me to speak on behalf of Rivers Casino. There are a couple of things that are just three things that I wanted to make sure I touch base on. When it's come to employing and giving career opportunities to folks that we serve, I work for Jrf Human Services. I've been working with Rivers, namely called Sugar House Casino before. They have been an exemplary employer for the clients that we serve. We serve people who are unemployed or underemployed. And every time they have a job opportunity, they call us, say, we have these jobs for you. Three things we look for in terms of human services are if the employers care, and the resounding answer for us when it's come to River is yes. The second thing is, do they train, upscale, and also invest in their employees? The other answer is yes. So the third thing that we wanted to make sure is making sure that the clients that we serve have not just a job, because we preach what we call the ABCs of employment. A job that lead to a better job, that lead to a career. Rivers, to me, believe in promoting within, and that's something that our clients really wanted. They just didn't want a dead-end job. And when we find them jobs over there, they were trained, they were retained, and most of the time, they were promoted. And that's something that we really wanted in the workforce development. We just didn't want somebody to go to a job, get there for 3 months or 2 months and leave. So those are the things that I really wanted to make sure that we put an emphasis on. So there are a couple of sectors that Rivers hires our clients within. The trades, because we have a school at Jeffs called All-In Technical College. We train folks in carpentry, building maintenance, HVAC, and electricity. All those folks, when they finish, they need a job. We also have people who graduate from high school or leave prison and come back to the workplace. When they finish their training, Rivers is a pipeline for us to get jobs for them. So it's not just playing the game of I want to hire, but mainly retaining. We know it costs a lot to hire, but it costs more to fire. And that's something that Rivers Casino has been doing a lot of, making sure that they use us as a pipeline to, lack of a better term, look at it as the Amazon of workforce. And that's been really tremendous. They've been doing job fairs for us. They come to do mock interview for us. When our clients during the pandemic needed help, one of the main employees that we could rely on to give diapers, clothing to folks with their children, Rivers cut checks for us just to help these folks. So it could not be easier. I think they did a tremendous job helping the clients that we serve. And that's something that if I didn't say, it would be wrong for me. I think that most people that spoke probably before me, talk about how people benefited from having a job. And my dad said it best. Either you find a job for somebody or they find a job for you. So for me and my clients and Jeffs Human Services and other organizations within the Philadelphia area and New Jersey area, they could testify, especially for me, that Rivers has been great for the clients that we serve. That's something that I wanted to just focus on. So I want to thank you for your time. I've been waiting since the 5 o'clock for this, so I'm excited. I'll take questions. If you don't, definitely that's what I would leave you with.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Thank you for your comments, sir. Have a good evening. Thank you, sir.
Members of council, there are no additional speakers on this item.
Members of council, is there any discussion about this item?
Mayor?
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor.
I'm still want to put that motion forward, and I will ask that for C, D, and E as well.
Okay, it will apply, whatever is determined will apply, sir. So what we're asking for is a discussion. After that, we will call for a motion, sir. So is there any discussion on this item?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Lucas Burke, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate all of the speakers who have come forth to give us information. I believe that Rush Street has worked very well with us over the past year and a half to bring this to this point. Rush Street already has their application at the lottery board. They've done all of their due diligence. Rush Street even set up opportunities for each of the council members to have a tour. I have one, took advantage of it and was blown away. I mean, something that I never even expected from a casino developer. It was a joy. I toured that with Councilman Woodard. We both appeared to enjoy what we've seen. I don't think we need a delay. I mean, it was offered. This opportunity has been on the table for several years, coming forth to us. This is not anything that was done overnight or even in a week, not even in a month, because my tour was in March. We had all of April and all of almost May, to make that happen. I don't understand why we would need a delay. We want to be the first ones in this Hampton Roads region to bring a casino option to our citizens. I know that there has been some discussion in the community and some false belief that some persons who are elected statewide, federal wide, local wide, whatever they want to believe, will gain some financial options from this, but no person who is an elected official can legally, lawfully be involved in this casino project. So no one stands to gain one brown penny from this. I know that there are some tactics out there to delay this process because of the gray machines that are out there that are ending in July, and that's some of the conversation. But we need to be professional with this. Rush Street has been professional with us. They have put $15 million on the line at the lottery board. We are the only application, I believe, right now who is at the lottery board. They are waiting on approval. This has been a subject of conversation, communication in the media, in the community, across our cities. This is going to bring, just like the speaker said, not only jobs, but Rush Street will be a resource for us when we need things, when we need people to help us in the community. We toured Philadelphia. We saw how they built up their community. And even though they did not have a hotel currently there, and they've been operating for 10 years, we went on, I believe, a Wednesday or Thursday night packed with people. Restaurants, nice food, great options, layout for sports betting that was 3 times the size of our local sports venue here. I think it's going to be something that our community has been waiting for. The referendum already showed us that 60% of our citizenry want this. So I think we need to not waste any more time. We need to be ready when the lottery board begins to approve this option. And I think the vote needs to go forth now. So I would make a substitute motion to approve this item today.
Mayor.
You're mute, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, go ahead.
The motion was to do it on the 25th. Are they approving it on before the 25th of May?
Sir, we have not gotten to that point yet. As I shared with you, when we get to the point of the motion.
No, I was asking to what something that Councilwoman Lucas Burks. I wanted to know would the lottery board was approving it before May 25th, which was the next meeting.
I don't believe they are. I believe they have a time process that they're going to take to approve that, but it was supposed to be this year. But if we get an opportunity to be the first out of the ground, the first ones to move forward with this, we already know what we're up against with the other localities. So I don't think it's going to be within the next 30 days, but we want to be, Rush Street want them to be ready to move forward when the process comes forward.
And can I ask Mr. Tobin a question? Has Rush Street put up the $15 million for the application already?
No, we have not yet made the deposit.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Moody and then Councilmember Woodard. Councilman Moody, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with my colleague. I think it would be a mistake to defer this. A previous speaker also mentioned that this site is not near a river. I think it's important to note that Rush Street liked this site. They liked it because of its access to the interstate, to 264. That was extremely important to have good access to it. And I think to defer it, there needs to be a valid reason. And I haven't heard of any reason that's been forthcoming on why we should defer the application tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Woodard, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, to the sentiment of Councilwoman Lucas Burke, we did take a tour of the facility, and it was a lot of things that made it very attractive and we were blown away. But there's other projects as well that we have seen that's coming into this area that the community has been blown away with too. And we don't want to just be the first. We want to make sure that we're the best in this area. So when we're looking at a project of this size and we want to make sure that it's something that is going to be lifetime. It's going to improve our community. And as we sit here and listen to our citizens, we are getting in detail a little bit more about what they feel, the pulse of the community. 60% of the voters have voted for this referendum, but they voted on a render of a complete project and didn't know the details of the phases. So we must take all this in consideration as we go forward, looking at this potential project coming to this area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And if I may, before we call for the motion, which is the next step, part of what we're
Mr.
yes,
Mayor,
sir.
excuse me.
Councilwoman Battle.
Yes, I've had my hand up for quite some time.
I'm sorry, sir.
And I've stayed in line. And
I absolutely
and I wanted to
apologize.
say something because I didn't think you saw it.
I did,
I know
Councilmember
you
Battle.
did.
I
Yes.
apologize because I did not see your hand, sir. And please, you have the floor. Thank you, sir.
First of all, let me say this. On projects like this, sometimes it's extremely hard to find the truth. And through our emotions, we can see things that are not there and visualize how it can be, or how it is going to be, rather than how it can be. So what I'm saying is the truth has been absent in some phases of this. One truth was that the application process just opened up recently. And the application process gave the layout for what the state expects. And they're not accepting the applications until the 21st of this month. And they haven't put their $15 million up. So, and we've been working on this a year and a half. And I don't see where 2 weeks will make a big difference. Because, see, I want them to blow me away too. All of you have been blown away, and I want to get blown away. And everything that has transpired sounds good. And I realize that the citizens, 2/3 of our citizens, said, yes, this is what they want, a casino. But I'm just asking for a couple of weeks, which even after they put in application on the 21st, the background check's going to take from 3 months to a year. We approximate September. But all of this is just guesswork and gestures. It could be 3 months, could be 6 months. So we're trying to get to what's real and what's not real in here. And all I'm asking is, all of you have been blown away. Allow me to be blown away like you, so I can reach that state of euphoria. And as far as Rush Street, I think they've been very honest with us. I think it's a pretty good deal. I think they are fair and upfront and so forth. But I'm just one of 7 who says I'd rather vote on it at the next meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Battle. And once again, I do apologize for not seeing your hand. It was not done on purpose, so I want you to know that. And thank you for your comments. So at this time, I just wanted to say a few things. Everyone has had a chance to weigh in, And a part of what we are all tasked with as policymakers and individuals that were elected to provide those things to our city, like economic development, which will in turn hopefully create tax revenue to allow us to participate and fund those items that are important to our community, such as public safety, education, infrastructure, and the list goes on. The total idea of Portsmouth and our economy and looking at an entertainment district with casino gaming is diversifying our economy. And I think that's a good thing. In order to look at what Rush Street brings to the table, I think is a very valid and realistic option to bring entertainment and make Portsmouth a destination. In addition to that, I have had the opportunity to do some investigation and talk with some of the other stakeholders in other cities that Rush Street has a relationship with. They have shared information and they willingly said to me, if you want data on crime, of our minority participation, of all the things that we have done to enhance the communities in which we have come to, we have become partners and families in those communities. I'm saying all that to say is as we look as leaders, what we want to do and how we want to proceed, economic development, the fact that this particular partner is willing to come to Portsmouth, make an investment in our community, and provide much needed tax revenue, estimates projected at $16 million. And some of us can make the argument that is not just about money, and I would absolutely agree. It is about the relationship and the people that we are considering bringing to our city, and if they do what they say they will do. And having heard from many others that they have done business with, not that I've known them and I have not lived in those communities, I base a decision on what people have shared with me and the results. And I think that as we go forward, this organization would be a good member of the Portsmouth family, and we should consider that appropriately. Now, we have reached the point of the question. And the question is, we are in need of an motion and second. And Vice Mayor Barnes had brought up initially a motion to defer. So I would ask that we proceed with the motion to defer. Would there get a second? We need a second on the motion?
Yes, I second.
Right, we need a motion to defer and second.
Mayor, Council, if I can help you out here. The first motion was a motion to defer items C, D, and E. We
Right.
had a follow-up amended motion by Councilwoman Lucas Burke to approve.
Right.
So we need to deal with that one first.
Right.
Because it's an amended motion. And Councilwoman Lucas Burke, is there a second for this motion?
I second my colleague's motion.
Okay. So, Mayor, we have a motion and a second to defer.
Correct.
If you could deal with that one first, and if that fails, then you would go back to the original motion of
That's correct.
deferral.
That is correct.
The-
So we have a motion.
Yes, sir. You have a motion and a second to approve.
To approve. And Madam Clerk, would you then call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes.
Councilman Whitaker had something to say
I'm sorry.
before the vote.
Go ahead, Dr. Whitaker. You have the floor, sir.
I was trying to make sure I was understanding. I thought that there was a motion on the floor from Vice Mayor Barnes that was seconded.
Yes, sir. We had the first motion was a motion to defer by Councilman Vice Mayor Barnes, and it was seconded by Mr. Battle, but we had an amended motion by Councilwoman Lucas Burke and seconded by Mr. Moody to approve. So she amended his motion of deferral for approval.
Okay.
So we need to deal with the amendment, and if the amendment fails, then we will go back to the original motion of deferral.
Oh, okay. I thought the movement had to agree to an amended motion.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. I just want to make sure what we're
And,
following
and just
procedure.
for clarification for the council, you all have not excuse me, I'm sorry. You all have not changed your rules yet for only one consideration of your planning items. So keep in mind, if you approve or however you decide to vote tonight, you have an opportunity for second reading on May 25th, if it's approved. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Would you call the
So
roll?
at this time, you have a motion and a second to approve. And again, Vice Mayor Barnes.
Oh, no.
Okay. Mr. Battle,
No.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
No.
Mr. Woodard,
No.
Mayor Glover.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion fails. I'm sorry. So we're back to the original motion of deferral. And Vice Mayor, if you would indicate you're looking for this to be deferred to May 25th.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. All right. Mayor, would you like for me to call the roll?
Yes, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
No.
Mr. Moody,
No.
Dr. Whitaker.
Yes, to defer. Yes.
Yes, sir. Mr. Woodard,
Yes. Deferral.
Mayor Glover.
No.
The motion to defer to May 25th has been approved. And that would be for items C, D, and E.
Madam Clerk, please clarify that this will be the second reading on May the 25th.
Well, no, sir. You have not had a public hearing on item D and
That's
E.
what I want you to clarify, what it is.
Yes, sir. We have had first reading on item C, so it will be second reading. Well, officially first reading because you haven't voted yet, but it would not be a public hearing. On item D and E, it would be first reading and public hearings.
Correct. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
We've now come to the city manager's report. Item 21-141. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance we're considering pertaining to this item?
yes, sir. An ordinance to amend and re-enact ordinance number 2020-32 to impose and levy taxes for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022 on real estate, tangible personal property, privately owned pleasure boats, privately owned camping trailers and motorhomes, and machinery and tools within the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, for the purpose of raising revenue for the support of governmental operations and the public free schools, and to pay principal and interest on public debt.
Council members, we are in need of a motion and second.
Move for approval.
Second.
And Madam Clerk, were there any speakers for this item?
No, sir, not for item A.
Is there any discussion from members of council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard, think that was a yes.
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that item is approved. Adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance we are considering for item B.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to amend Appendix A of the Code of the City of Portsmouth, Virginia to increase monthly stormwater utility fees as of July 1, 2021, as authorized by Section 31.2-26 of said code.
Council members, we are in need of motion and second. Councilmember Moody, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, since due to the pandemic, we still have a lot of people suffering financially. I would recommend that we defer this item to January of 2022. That's the implementation of the item.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Moody. Madam City Manager, are we prepared to address that?
I am not sure of the impact that it would have on the budget by deferring this. We would definitely need to run the numbers to determine what impact it would be. At this point, I cannot speak to how that would impact.
If Mayor, if that's the case, then I would ask that B and C be deferred to our next meeting.
I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, can we defer that to the next meeting?
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Dr. Whitaker.
Okay. All right. I thought we just came out of a public work session where we were discussing items for consensus and opportunity for the city manager to give us insight or to make budget changes. And so I would think that we already had that opportunity to do that.
That is correct. We did instruct the city manager based on the consensus within the work session to add some items. But once again, this is an open discussion that we're having. Councilmember Moody, sir.
No, I was going to just say we did not address specifically these two items, and we could not vote. We could not vote on these two items during the work session.
Council members, if I could, not speaking for the city manager, but I believe your budget at this time is based on the revenue from the stormwater utility fees and for the increased water and sewerage rates that have been proposed. So if you're not going to vote on this, you're not going to be able to vote on the final budget because those fees have not been established, and items in the budget are based on those fees.
That's correct.
Well,
Correct.
Madam Clerk, they're always based on fees, but deferring this until the city manager gets back with the fiscal impact of it, I think is not jeopardizing the entire budget at this point.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Moody. Dr. Whitaker, sir, you have the floor.
Can we hear from the city manager? And also, I thought that there was a time period in a previous meeting that we had with city manager and discussing the budget that this budget can't be deferred because of some time sensitive issues.
I'm going to let either our CFO, Mimi Terry, or our budget director, Trey Burke, speak to that question because I'm not sure of the time frame. So one of them can address that time frame.
Good evening, council. I'll let Mr. Burke discuss the time frame. However, correct, we are by code required to have a balanced budget approved by a certain time frame, and May 11th, which is today, allows us the opportunity to meet our goal, our timeline for this approved budget. Also, we can adopt the budget. If it be the will of council, we can go back later and defer the taxes, increase in those taxes at any time, but we want a balanced budget now. Because deferring the taxes is still, we're still adopting, or what we're asking tonight is to adopt the increase. A deferment means you're going to have 5%, but we can defer the increase until January. But it doesn't have, we're adopting the rate tonight. And a deferment of the rate would just defer the same what you adopt tonight, if I'm clear.
And we've done something similar in the past. It's not deferring the implementation of the current rates. We can also adopt the increase, as you say, but we can also come back and defer the increase. And as far as adoption of the budget is concerned, I think state code says it has to be adopted before June the 30th, I think, is the drop dead deadline, not May the 11th today.
Well, we do that because schools. Don't forget,
yes. Yeah, right. And I'm not advocating deferring the whole budget, just the increase. And I've asked for the city manager to come back with the impact of deferring the percentage of increase, not the implementation of the existing fees.
Okay. So in other words, the rate of the increased rate would be adopted tonight, and the deferment as far as the impact to the budget would be what we report back to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to be clear.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you guys for the clarification as well.
Yes.
You muted, man.
Madam Clerk, are we prepared to move forward with?
Sir, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really sure what we're trying to do. So we have item A. Item B is amending the appendix for the increase, and item C is amending the appendix A for the increased rate. So we're moving to defer both of these items. Is that what we're deferring?
Mr. Mayor.
No, that's not it. Mr. Mayor.
That's why I said I'm not clear. So if someone could clear it up.
Mr. Moody agreed, I believe, to go ahead and have the vote, but to come back to council to see if the tax or the increase can be deferred later on.
Correct.
So I think the original motion is still on the floor to be voted on, or nothing has changed as far as the budget goes.
Exactly.
Am I right, Mr. Moody?
That is correct.
That's correct.
So he's agreeing to have the motion made on the full budget, and then for Ms. Terry to come back, or the city manager to come back to see if those increases can be deferred till January, what type of impact that would have on the budget. I believe that's what Mr. Moody said.
That's correct.
That's correct.
So the vote should go on as listed.
Okay, so we're dealing with item B.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Dr. Whitaker, you have the floor, sir.
I was just going to say, can we just simplify it and take a motion for approval, move for approval, get it seconded, and let's move on?
That is exactly what we just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page, sir. And thank you for that clarification.
All right.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Sir, I need a motion and a second.
We have
to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes. We've now come to item C. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance we're considering.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to amend Appendix A of the Code of the City of Portsmouth, Virginia, to increase rates for water and sewage services as authorized by Sections 38-83 and 38-117 of the said code.
Move for approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, are there any speakers for this item?
No, sir.
Council members, are there any additional discussions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes. And we are now at item D. And Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance we are considering.
Yes, sir. An ordinance approving the FY 2022 through 26 capital improvement program and appropriating $26,296,500 in the FY 2022 capital improvement fund.
Move for approval.
Second.
Yes, sir. The speaker is Mr. Bracy Farr.
Hi, good evening,
Mr.
Mayor.
Parr, welcome, sir. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of City Council. In fall of 2020, during the election cycle, fall of 2019, 5 of the currently seated City Council members made a pledge to Craddock to include funding for a new Craddock Civic Center. Since our building at 45 Afton was torn down, I could not locate funding for this item in the capital improvements plan. And so I'm urging City Council to either defer or reject this item D until we can come up with a solution. We're open to creative solutions, hopefully solutions that integrate the use of the skate park, the fire station, and the library to hopefully foment business growth and development in Afton Square. But we would like City Council to make good on their promise that they made during the election season now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any discussion from members of council? Councilmember Battle, sir, you have the floor.
I think the city manager expressed that we were going to couple with the schools and make those venues available for those community programs. And she made a valid point that there's no need in reproducing the wheel if we have a venue that can meet those needs. Because of budget constraints, that we can use those venues. And it's not that we're not paying attention to the concerns of the citizens. It's just a different method that we're using to meet the obligation that the 5 of us made. Again, that junior high school is readily available and has the space to almost do anything that they would want to do. So I don't want them to think that we've slighted them and that there's the only way we can do it is to put money in the budget and build it because of budget constraints, will be utilized in quite a few of the schools at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Whitaker, sir, you have the floor.
Right. Also, we're not reneging on any obligations to youth because the city manager is going to be making an assessment of our needs. And so that assessment would include the crowd out community. And so we can't just haphazardly approach it. We're approaching it strategically under the city manager's leadership through assessing what our needs are. And so I just want to make sure that citizens that are concerned about that are clear on that.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other discussion items before we call for?
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
just want to make sure, since the numbers are different than what, I don't know if the citizens have an agenda similar to ours. This represents the $1.5 million that we discussed earlier.
That's correct.
Okay.
that is correct, sir. Thank you very much.
And
Madam-
council members, for your information, as these items were updated, we updated the information online for
Okay.
the public, so they are aware.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I believe when we started our discussion, we already had a motion and a second.
Yes, sir.
Would you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We've come to item E. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item?
Yes, sir. An ordinance approving the fiscal year 2022 operating budget for the Portsmouth Public School System in the amount of $219,140,655 and appropriating the necessary funds to implement said budget for the fiscal year 2022.
Move for approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
No, sir.
Council members, is there any additional discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I just want to, based on our previous discussion, I just want to commend my colleagues and also to let the public know that this is one of the few times I know of where we will be fully supporting and funding the superintendent's request. And I think that's a monumental achievement as we look to fight the issue of poverty. And also just want to mention that as we look at increasing the funding for the schools, we're really not increasing, we're really trying to catch up because there have been so many cuts in the past at both the local and particularly at the state level since 2008 in the economic recession. And so I just want to commend our colleagues for moving our funding for our schools in a right direction.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes. And Madam Clerk, we've come to item F. Would you please read the ordinance pertaining to this item?
Yes, sir. An ordinance adopting the FY 2022 classification and pay plan for employees of the city of
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
Item F, yes, sir. Mr. Danny Clare.
Mr. Clare, are you with us, sir? Mr. Clare?
He was calling in. He may have hung up.
Okay,
So there are no additional speakers on this item.
so then we're okay to call for any additional discussion?
Yes, sir.
Is there any additional discussion amongst my colleagues? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call for the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes. We've now come to item G. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance pertaining to this item?
Yes, sir. An ordinance to appropriate $461,432,395 for the operation of the city government during the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021.
Move for approval.
Second.
Yes, sir. I have one speaker, Mr. Bracy Farr.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Parr, are you with us, sir?
No, Miss White, I had canceled my speaking for item G.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
There are
sir.
no additional speakers, sir.
Council members, is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, then, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Woodard,
Yes.
Mayor Glover.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before I take a moment to make a few comments about this budget process, I would ask that our new city manager, Ms. Jones, have some time to present some comments to council. Ms. Jones?
Thank you. I just wanted to say to each of you city council members that I appreciated the opportunity to come in at the tail end of this budget process, trying to get up to speed quickly and ensuring that you are presented with a balanced budget. But the true testament goes to the interim city manager, Mr. Lavoris Pace, and the CFO, Ms. Mimi Terry, and the budget director, Mr. Trey Burke. I want to commend them publicly for not only getting me up to speed, but allowing us to remain responsive to your requests, to your questions. As we go forward, we will be sure to address the priorities of this community, recognizing that we have competing priorities, but we will look at them strategically. We will look at them critically to ensure that we are using our resources in the highest and best manner. So I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to get up to speed pretty quickly on this budget. And as we go forward, we will have more engaging conversations. So thank you so much.
And thank you, City Manager Jones. And what I do want to just take a moment to say at this time is, we have a very talented team of professionals here in the city of Portsmouth. Our city staff, all of our employees, they're committed to their jobs and they work very hard at what they do under very challenging circumstances with the COVID-19. So I want to take a moment just to thank them for all of their hard work and commitment during this process. On behalf of each and every one of you, I want to congratulate our city manager, Jones, Deputy City Manager Lavoris Pace, and the entire budget team for completing their first budget. I know City Manager Jones came in on the end of it, but she was steadfast and she got right to work. So let's give them all a round of applause. And I'm going to make a prediction, not on behalf of my colleagues on council, but this is the mayor making a prediction. We're going to have an even better process next year. So thank you all for participating.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Dr. Whitaker, you have the.
And also, I just want to say, I thought it was very beneficial and efficient, the one-on-one sessions that we had with the city manager, deputy city manager, chief financial officer, and staff. I thought that was a very excellent process that I think we should follow through on the next time as well.
Well, you've already made the request, sir, so it's going to become a part of the process. How's that?
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. I want to make sure that's okay with the manager, though.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. We've come to new business, boards and commissions. Vice Mayor Barnes, Dr. Whitaker, are there any appointments to bring forward for council's consideration?
No, sir.
We've come to item 21-143, items submitted by council. Council members, do you have any other items to submit?
I have something, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. First, I want to give a shout out to a couple of people, well, a couple of things. I was able to go to the Dollar Depot. We had this, which is a new minority and veteran-owned business that opened up on last Saturday. Miss Adrienne Nixon has opened this business up. It's 3812 George Washington Highway. She's excited to be doing business in Portsmouth. Like I said, it's minority-owned and military-owned. And I asked that we make sure that we support her so that she can have a supportive business that brings a lot of revenue to our city. Again, that's 3812 George Washington Highway. Also, I want to give a shout out to Sania Bamberg. I know we gave her a shout out last meeting, but since then she's actually won the state Youth of the Year, and she's also will be attending Juilliard. So I wanted to recognize that as well. Her mother and her father are good people in the community. They volunteer and do a lot of work in the community. So I wanted to, like I said, recognize her for that. And lastly, I've spoke with Mr. Corey Newell from Waterview Civic League, and also some more people from that Civic League. And it's an issue that they've been having for years. I know when I ran for school board, I remember being in the forums, they were talking about the traffic issue that they had in that neighborhood. And I think it's finally time that we actually go speak with the Civic League and Mr. Newell and actually address that issue. So I'm asking that we actually go schedule a meeting again with the Waterview Civic League, the hopefully maybe the city manager and all the other departments that need to be involved, so we can address that, because it shouldn't be something that has been prolonged for years and years. So again, that's the Waterview Civic League. Is a big traffic issue. There's been a lot of accidents in the area. So I hopefully we can deal with those issues. And that is my, that's it for me.
Thank you, sir. We come to item 21-144, report on pending items. Ms. Jones, do we have a report on any pending items?
No, we do not.
And Mr. Moody, sir, I'm sorry, I missed your hand up. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for the city manager on the HRA money that was previously in the budget. Where will those funds go?
They will go to shore up the 80% to get us towards the policy that the council has established for recovery for our retirement benefits.
Okay, how about the funds that the people who were in that plan rolled their money over? Will that be, how will that be satisfied?
They will have until December 31st of the calendar year to spend those funds, and we will still be liable for those expenses if they utilize what they have rolled over.
And they'll be communicated with on what their options are at that point.
Once the budget gets adopted, that's correct. They will be notified.
Okay, thanks.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, sir. And one last privilege by the mayor is some of you attended the birthday celebration of our city manager, Miss Angel Jones, yesterday. And I just want to share with all of my colleagues, we are very fortunate to have the birthday girl on our team. So if we could just give a birthday clap, I think everybody. Her birthday was yesterday, so.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, are there any non-agenda items? I mean, non-agenda speakers, I'm sorry.
Mayor, there was one registered, Ms. May Breckenridge Haywood. I'm not sure if she's on the line though. I don't see her on here. Mrs. Breckenridge Haywood, are you on the line? Sir, she's not on the line, so she must have hung up.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
There are no additional speakers.
Council members, let me just thank each and every one of you for all of your hard work throughout this process. Once again, I said in the beginning that we're a team and we all want what's best for the citizens of Portsmouth. Working together as we go forward, I think we will continue to meet those needs. So I want to thank you for all of what you did in providing input and working through this budget process. And seeing no additional business for our consideration, we are adjourned.